Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari 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 Gopijana Vallabha Girivardhari Vallabha Jaya Gopijana Vallabha Girivardhari Yashoda Nandana Brajajana Ranjanaya Yashoda Nandana Brajajana Ranjanaya Jamuna Tira Banachari Jamuna Tira Banachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivardhari Gopijana Vallabha Girivardhari Yashoda Nandana Brajajana Ranjanaya Yashoda Nandana Brajajana Ranjanaya Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Prabhupada ki jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Pariravadacharya Satarasata Srimad His Divine Grace Abhay Charanardavinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki, Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Gaura Premanandi. Oh gloriously assembled devotees, oh gloriously assembled devotees, oh gloriously assembled devotees, oh glorious to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. Glories to Srila Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 17, The Victory of Hiranyaksha, text number 19. Chakre Hiranyakashipu, Chakre Hiranyakashipu, Dorbyam Brahma Varena Cha, Dorbyam Brahma Varena Cha, Vase Sapalalokam Strin, Vase Sapalalokam Strim, Akuto Mrityu Udataha, Akuto Mrityu Udataha, Chakre Hiranyakashipu, Dorbyam Brahma Varena Cha, Vase Sapalalokam Strin, Akuto Mrityu Udataha. Chakre made Hiranyakashipu Durbhyam, by his two arms, Brahma Varena, by the benediction of Brahma, Cha, and Vase, under his control, Sa Palan, along with their protectors, Lokan, the three worlds, Trin, three, Akuta Mrityahu, fearing death from no one, Udataha, puffed up. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. The elder child, Hiranyakashipu, was unafraid of death from anyone within the three worlds because he received the benediction from Lord Brahma. He was proud and puffed up due to this benediction and was able to bring all three planetary systems under his control. Please repeat. The elder child, Hiranyakashipu, was unafraid of death from anyone within the three worlds because he received the benediction from Lord Brahma. He was proud and puffed up due to this benediction and was able to bring all three planetary systems under his control. As will be revealed in later chapters, Hiranyakashipu underwent severe austerity and penance to satisfy Brahma and thus receive a benediction of immortality. Actually, it is impossible even for Lord Brahma to give anyone the benediction of becoming immortal. But indirectly, Hiranyakashipu received the benediction that no one within this material world would be able to kill him. In other words, because he originally came from the abode of Vaikuntha, he was not to be killed by anyone within this material world. The Lord desired to appear himself to kill him. One may be very proud of his material advancement in knowledge, but he cannot be immune to the four principles of material existence, namely birth, death, old age, and disease. It was the Lord's plan to teach people that even Hiranyakashipu, who was so powerful and strongly built, could not live more than his destined duration of life. One may become as strong and puffed up as Hiranyakashipu and bring under his control all the three worlds, but there is no possibility of continuing life eternally or keeping the conquered booty forever. So many emperors have ascended to power and they are now lost in oblivion. That is the history of the world. Mama Gyan Timarantasya Gananjana Shalakaya Chakshush Un Militam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Panchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhuvaevacha Patitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Hiranyakashipu and his brother Hiranyaksha. This chapter is the victory of Hiranyaksha. They're the topmost demons. There's demons everywhere. These are the best. They're big, big materialists. And we've been hearing descriptions of their mentality, their prowess. This particular verse describes some of the reason for their pride. Their bodies were huge, strong. Their minds were very fixed, very powerful. And nothing was needling them because they had confidence, no fear, because of this benediction gained from Lord Brahma, due to severe penances and austerities, which will be described later in more detail in later chapters, later cantos as well. Demons desire to have powerful facilities. In fact, the name Hiranya Kashipu, Hiranya means gold, and Kashipu means soft beds. This was his goal. Lots of money, lots of opulence, and plenty of enjoyment, plenty of soft beds. So to acquire these, he got the benediction, and he developed a huge body. People think that to be a good materialist, you need to have all of these facilities. To gain these facilities, you've got to work hard. Srila Prabhupada once was asked in relation to the devotees what exercise was good for them to do. Of course, we get so much exercise chanting and dancing in kirtan and sweeping the floor and washing the pots and waving the chamara and the arch and the peacock fan. But specifically, what exercise? So Prabhupada indicated that push-up. Prabhupada indicated push-ups. Prabhupada's recommendation. He also went for morning walks and push-ups. So nowadays, with the addition of science, technology, bodybuilding programs, whey powder, and extreme practices of, well, you can do push-ups, not just half push-ups, not just full push-ups, but you can elevate your legs on a platform. Extreme exercises. So with the aid of these tools, one can develop a mammoth form. Hulk. Exploding, full of vim and vigor and power and awesome form. And this gains some respect from many people. They worship such warriors, such heroes. I wasn't into that. Should have been. It's good to have some fitness there. I remember going out on book distribution once and walked into a gym and became a little bit turned off by the atmosphere. But still I thought, continue with the books. And I approached one of the managers and I said, I've got a book which will help you to get a better body. And I offered him the Changing Bodies book, which describes that get a new body. He didn't really take it because they want it now, instant. This is the demoniac mentality. Since time immemorial, the science of building the body and maintaining the health has been vast and catering for a large proportion of society who want to exist on that platform. It's changed now, changed form, but basically it's essentially the same. It's still there. We used to just be limited to breathing techniques, like fire breathing. And then there's other elements of breathing which are described there in the Bhagavad Gita. There's a breath process called Puraka, Kumbhaka, and Rechaka. Puraka means inhalation, and you can adjust the number of times and how long. Kumbhaka, retention of breath. I think 3 or 4 minutes is what they're recommending now. And then Rechaka, breathing out for twice as long as you breathe in. And that's supposed to improve your health and get your lungs strong. And then you add, that's the beginning, that's pranayama. And then you add other yoga practices to that, and that will help to develop and maintain the strength of the body. Nowadays there's so many varieties of yoga. There's hot yoga. There's swing yoga. There's kirtan yoga, ashtanga yoga, vinyasa yoga. Old wine in new bottles. It's just emphasising. We were in Mayapur, and one devotee made a comment that nowadays people they spend big money and they make a big endeavour to go to a health resort for a retreat, and they spend time 2 weeks, 3 weeks fasting or and getting massages and things like that. We can just go down to the bank of the Ganges, spend 10 rupees on a little container of mustard oil and do the same thing. Lie in the sun, massage, get a mud bath, fast. It's easy to fast. Actually, it's not so easy to fast. Fasting and feasting are difficult. Extremes. To eat balanced fashion, that's the real austerity. So different ways of developing the body. And for many people, this is the goal of life. It sounds good. You're healthy, strong, and powerful, can overcome many things. There's one problem. Big problem. The speaker yesterday exposed the difference between a materialist and a spiritualist. But it's about relationship with Krishna, no relationship, spirit and matter. There's an even more graphic problem, which was highlighted in this purport, and that's we all have to die. It's a beautiful place, but you got to die. B-O-D-Y. There's an amazing song. B-O-D-Y. Birth, old age, death, why? Maya's got you in her clutches. You'll soon be walking on crutches. Another verse was about, and you'll be sobbing, Robin. It's enjoyment there, but B-O-D-Y. Another version of the B-O-D-Y was birth, old age, disease, Yamaraj. So that's a problem. And actually those 4 items, they are the only real problems we've got. We've got one problem. We've got to die. And it's represented by birth, old age, disease and death. Those things are things that we should address. Those things can be addressed. They're not the be-all and end-all. It's like they say cancer is, it's only a word, it's not a sentence. It can be addressed. Here are some examples, different scenarios of what they mean. What is old age? Our friend and one of the great devotees here on New Govardhana, Venugopal Prabhu, he got news that he was going to leave his body and he prepared, as a devotee does. Even up to the last day, even though he was about to leave his body, he was still capable of using his facility to go to the bathroom. The last day, that was taken away from him. So old age doesn't have to be big suffering. There's another story from the Bushido tradition. A great warrior, he was given the benediction that he would not die until old age. Old age would be the precursor to death. So he was young and fit, and he was not worried about dying. So some circumstance he was captured by his opposing ruler, and still he was proud and puffed up like Hiranyakashipu, proud and puffed up, no fear, I'm not going to die, this. So this warrior, he didn't take the capture and the opposition seriously. He was punished. This was a wise warrior, the opposition. The king or the opposition, I can't remember what status he had, he arranged punishment for the puffed up warrior. He buried him in the ground up to his neck. And then he put an instrument next to him, and he invited everybody around who wasn't. If you're puffed up, then you don't have many friends. People tend to steer clear of you. So he had a lot of people who weren't his friends. And they were invited to come there, pick up the instrument, which was a bamboo saw, blunt bamboo saw, and saw at his neck. In 3 days, he died of old age. 3 days of that activity. Old age is actually just before death. Old age is you don't have to become decrepit. It's a myth. You don't have. You can still be alive. Another example of these 4 miseries. Trying to avoid death. There's the modern day example of Howard Hughes, billionaire, and he became obsessive about his health and obsessive about cleanliness and germs. But despite all of his endeavours to keep everything immaculately clean and uncontaminated, his servants had to, in order to give him a spoon, they had to cleanse it, wrap it in a tissue, put it in something else, and then pass it to him with another tissue. And this obsessive attempt to avoid being contaminated and ultimately dying. Joe Germ got him. He lacked strength. He became vulnerable, emaciated, wasn't eating, and inevitable time got him. Another attempt to avoid death, there was in the Vedic time, there was an expert sculptor. And he got a warning that he had an appointment with Yamaraj. So in preparation, he fashioned some forms, imitations of himself, 8 forms, exact replicas of himself. And they were completed, and he examined them, they looked perfect. So then Yamaraj approached, and the sculptor stood in line with the other forms. And Yamaraj, for an instant, looked, said, which one? Which one? Who have I got an appointment with? Who am I supposed to take? And they were so perfect. Expert sculptor, he couldn't discern the difference. So the attempt, he thought, I've succeeded in foiling Yamaraj's plan. Yamaraj, he's pretty smart. He's omniscient. He's got many of the full capacities of Krishna. He said, wow, what a lousy sculptor. Lousy sculptor. And the sculptor, his false ego goes, what are you talking about? Stepped forward And Yamaraj took him by the hand and said, "Come with me, sir. Time is up. You've only got a certain number of breaths, and when you've used up your breaths, that's it. You can't avoid death." What do they say? Death and taxes. You can't avoid them. Okay, and then birth. We'll focus on a certain aspect of birth. That's they've worked out the average lifespan. In Greenland, the average lifespan used to be about 21 years old, because many people would die from boating accidents. Icebergs would fall on them and stuff like that. Nowadays it's changed and it's up to about 53. In the Western world, the average lifespan, say 76, men and women slightly different. But if you figure in the number of conceptions that are aborted, means you're about to live but you don't see the light of day, that average lifespan goes down to 53. Conceptions, in some countries, some developed countries, 65% of conceptions are aborted. So I got this fact from a footnote from the 11th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam. So, and if you're involved in that business, then it's hellish. For people who are engaged in administrating that process, then they will not see the light of day for 10,000 births. They'll have to take birth in the womb of a mother, or appear in a womb of a mother, but then be killed. So birth is not easy. Birth, old age, disease, and Yamaraj. Big problems. But Krishna consciousness, there's a solution. Don't take birth again in the material world. Get a spiritual body. Spiritual body is spiritual body is not a victim of those problems. Srila Prabhupada, he uses an interesting term in the purport. He says that he cannot be immune to the four principles of material existence, namely birth, death, old age, and disease. What is immunity? What is immunity? There's immunity on different levels. Immunity of the body, immunity to, or having the capacity to fight off disease. The white blood cells are in right balance, and the macrophages and all the other things there. They're there to help you. They're doing that. The bad bugs are being attacked by the good bugs. So that's one level of immunity, the immunity of the earth. The earth can suck up so much poison and still produce food stuff and what it's supposed to produce. It's got its own immune system, but the immune system has been taxed and destroyed and weakened. What about immunity to criticism? How do we become immune to criticism? Because often we're okay, but bad association, the influence of other people, that will bring us down. So how do we become immune to criticism? There's an example in the Vedas of Maharaj Yudhisthira. Maharaj Yudhisthira, another one of his names was Ajata Satrava, one whose enemy has never been born. Meaning that he didn't consider anybody his enemy, and he treated them in such a way that they would respect him. And there's an example, I think it's in the Mahabharata, to highlight the difference between such a person and the opposite. As a test, when they were younger, Duryodhana or one of the teachers, when you go to school, when you're in military training or whatever, then there's tests, different things to assess you can a self-assessment, but you can also get tests. So Duryodhana and Yudhisthira, they were lined up and they were given a task. Go out, search the whole world, and find somebody better than you. Duryodhana was given that. Go out and search the whole world and find somebody worse than you. That was Maharaj Yudhishthira's task. So they went out and engaged earnestly in the test. Came back in the evening to report. So they were there together. Guru Maharaj asked, "So Duryodhana, did you manage to find anybody better than you?" And his answer was, "Nope. I'm the best." So then Yudhishthira Maharaj, he was asked, and his task was to find somebody worse than you. So were you successful? Maharaj Yudhishthira said, "Nope. I'm so low, couldn't find anybody." Humility, no enemy, not wanting to criticize others. Everybody's better than me. So to become immune to criticism, then we can follow in the footsteps of Maharaj Yudhishthira and develop this attitude. Ramai Swami once told me, if you want to become free from being blamed, then stop blaming others. The old pointing the finger and then there's three fingers coming back. Overcome fear. Is anybody immune to fear? Fear walking because we'll trip over, which is real because danger at every step. Padam padam yadvi padam navtesham. But how do we overcome fear? Gut-wrenching, devouring fear. Well, the Vedas describe to overcome fear, have to develop knowledge. Knowledge will help to overcome fear. And the ultimate knowledge is that death means another birth. For one who is born, death is certain. For one who dies, birth is certain. So when we finish in this body, we're going to get another body. I've got a friend, he's the same age as me. He's falling apart a little bit, but he's got this amazing spirit. He's very confident. He knows, and he'll speak openly. I've done service for Srimati Radharani. I've got her blessings. If this body goes, she'll give me another body. I'll take a different body. To avoid the pernicious effect of mahapap. Mahapap means the greatest sin. Great sins. There's five main sins. Killing a brahmana, blaspheming a brahmana, killing a cow. I'm not sure exactly the other two. But these are the big sins. So how to avoid them? On Ekadasi, fast. Fast from grains and beans. It's pretty simple. Some people can fast, some people can't fast. But even on Ekadasi, we just avoid grains and beans. How to avoid rebirth? At the moment, there's another fast which is being offered. That's the Chaturmas Vrata. So during the 4 months of Chaturmas, we can avoid certain items for a month. For a month, we don't take any green leafy vegetables. For next month, we don't take any yogurt. For the next month, we don't take any milk. And the last month, we don't take any non-veg or high-protein food stuff like urd dal or that red dal, masoor dal. Simple. Control your tongue. Don't eat these things. And that will help to give us a better destination in life. Chaturmas Vrata. So the Vedas are offering very, very practical, real solutions to those problems. Birth, old age, disease, and death. And the Hiranyakashipu is being presented as an example. Even you may be the biggest, most capable person, but still, when your time's up, you've got to go. Srimad Bhagavatam also, there's another recommendation in the first canto, chapter 1, text number 10, Manda Sumanda Mateo Manda Bhagyo Upadritaha. In order to maintain good health, then one should maintain cleanliness, regularity, and not be over-dependent on another's mercy. To maintain as much independence from being desperate and dependent as much as possible. So in conclusion, what will keep us here, what will keep us suffering, is the mentality that we are eternal, we can live forever, we want to enjoy forever. An example of it, there was a young woman, and she was trying to do all the things, looking after health and stuff like that. She said, it's tough. All I want to do is wake up every morning beautiful. I said, well, you are, and you can be on the spiritual platform, but the endeavour, is destined to fail. It's not going to work. On the platform of the spirit soul, we never get old. Eternal, unborn, ever-existing, primeval. Soul is not slain when the body is slain. So that's the solution. Get out of this miserable tabernacle of material existence by achieving spiritual life. Overcome birth, old age, disease and death. Chant Hare Krishna. Your life will be sublime. Does anybody have any questions or any comments? Certainly. We're getting the microphone for you. Make it short, Prabhu.
Yeah, thank you. Just 2 minutes. Basically, as you mentioned, it was said that he satisfied Lord Brahma, but as when what Vinod Hari was saying yesterday, so it's quite the opposite in that he wasn't satisfying Lord Brahma. He was actually disturbing the whole universe. The fire was coming out of his body, and everything was disturbed. So it was indirect. Lord Brahma knew that no, actually, he cannot benedict anybody to live without death. Something else must be at play.
Okay.
So then oblivion, Srila Prabhupada says, oblivion is samsara. Now for a devotee, one isn't frightened of death, but samsara is to know reality, to know the horror of the length of time that samsara goes on. The other is the answer to samsara is the devotee isn't afraid of death, but prays to take birth in the family of a devotee so that they don't forget Krishna. Mm-hmm. And with the breathing, as you mentioned, the breathing is, just let me catch this for a moment, as Vinod Hari was saying yesterday, as numerologically looking at the chanting of Haridas Thakur, basically it could come down to, as he estimated, 20 hours. It's 7 hours, but whereas Prabhupada mentioned that, that isn't really good chanting unless it's under 7 minutes. So there is the breathing component, and as yogis do, they can speak on the incoming or breathe on the incoming and outgoing breath. So actually, when we hear Srila Prabhupada chant, a lot of people ask, is it 16 syllables? But for somebody chanting like Srila Prabhupada, he is chanting on inner and the outer breath, as well as his mind, and one can actually cut down the chanting in proper to 3 to 5 minutes. So it is possible that Haridas Thakur was chanting 192 rounds in less than 10 hours. As if we wonder, how did all this happen?
Jai. Thank you.
First of all, I have a question. So the beings that take a spiritual body in Vaikuntha...
Slow down.
The beings, like say if you get liberated to Vaikuntha and all the planetary systems, and you take on a spiritual body, is that an eternal spiritual body?
Yes.
So do the eternal spiritual bodies, because it seems to be, do they still worship Krishna and stay in Krishna consciousness? Because it seems that the Krishna consciousness is a solution to not being eternal. So if they are eternal, are they? My question is, as
Aha.
the people in Vaikuntha planets, do they still, stay in Krishna consciousness even though they're eternal?
Krishna consciousness is a solution to
Old age,
not
birth, disease, and death.
to being not eternal, sat asat, temporary. To get a because if you want to be happy, then happiness means eternally happy. So we get a little moments of relief from suffering. That's the nature of the material world. It's limited, whereas the spiritual world is unlimited. So there you enjoy serving Krishna unlimitedly. Here we're trying to serve ourselves, serve our mind, serve our conception of reality, and that's limited. But the real conception of reality is the unlimited spiritual world, where Krishna resides and engages in eternal pastimes with all of his parts and parcels. So we just want to enjoy. It's the nature of the living entity, and anandamaya be asat. But here this atmosphere is not proper. It's like a fish. You take a fish out of water, you give him a cigar, give him everything that could possibly imagine that's desirable in the material world. But after a while he'll start suffering because he's not in the actual element where he's coming from. So we're not in our actual home. We want to go back to the spiritual world where we can enjoy eternally in a mood of unlimited, pure, unadulterated service to the supreme worshipable object.
Thank you, I understand. Good answer.
That it is known
I think
that
that's enough.
just one half a minute per
There's other
Thank
people
you.
who want to ask questions.
Okay, does anyone want? Yeah. It's just that everybody in the heavenly planets is aware of the Supreme Lord. And in the spiritual world, it's Lord Balaram's energy that doesn't allow one to forget Krishna. So there isn't any forgetting of Krishna in the spiritual world.
Thanks for the class, Prabhu. Just about the importance of like the time that we have here and choosing it wisely to, instead of gaining, you were talking about gaining as much muscle as possible or material gains where it's all temporary. But the knowledge that we get from this Shastra about, or even just observing reality and its temporariness, and yeah, just really putting our time into what the ultimate kind of goal is in life. And I was just adding the importance of time, that we utilize it in the right way.
I am.
Yeah.
I've come to engage everybody in my service. Yeah, it's like that shock, that rude awakening. I haven't got unlimited time. Maharaj Prickett, he had 7 days. We don't know if we've got 7 seconds. So we should live every moment as though we need to remember Krishna. That's practice. It's a practice. How always remember Krishna and never forget Krishna. All the rules and regulations, they boil down to those two. How to remember Krishna, be in contact with Krishna. How not to forget him, connect things with Krishna. So that's the exercise, that's the practice we have to engage in. And if you forget, then ask somebody who's remembering. Go and take shelter of someone. Take shelter of the scriptures, take shelter of hearing, take shelter of the holy name. If you forget, if you can't even approach it, just chant. And even the chanting, the quality will improve. But start, just do it. At any moment, just connect somehow or other. Today's an auspicious day. It's Ananta Chaturdasi. We've had 3 festivals in a row. Vaman Dwadasi, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Haridas Thakur's disappearance. So Ananta Dwadasi is another auspicious day. Worshipping Krishna, ultimately. And today is also, not by the lunar calendar, but by the solar calendar, is the 65th anniversary of Srila Prabhupada taking sannyas. There's beautiful article in here, and it's summarized by reading Satsarup Maharaj's description of Prabhupada's sannyas ceremony. I don't know. I guess we can read that. On September morning in 1959, in the 50 by 25 foot temple room on the second floor of the Keshavi Gaudiya Math, a group of devotees sat before the deities Radha and Krishna and Lord Chaitanya. The Lord Chaitanya, whom Prabhupada himself had brought there. Satsvarup Das Goswami recounts the initiation ceremony. The deities were colourfully dressed in royal clothing and silver crowns. Radharani's right hand faced palm forward in benediction for the worshipper. At her side, her left hand held a flower for Krishna. Radharani's got an interesting thing in her hand there. I thought it was a handbag. Some of the nice decoration. Krishna looked like a dancer, placing his right leg in a casual tiptoe pose before his left, playing his long silver flute, which he held gracefully to his red lips. His long black hair reached down past his shoulders, and the garland of marigolds around his neck reached down to his knees. On his right stood the deity of Lord Chaitanya, his right arm raised, left arm at his side, his body straight, feet together. He was a soft golden colour, and he had large eyes, a well-formed red mouth, and straight black hair down to his shoulders. One level below the deities were pictures of the spiritual masters in disciplic succession. Jagannath Das Babaji, Bhakti Vinod Thakur, Gaur Kishore Das Babaji, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati, Bhakti Prajna Keshava Maharaj. Aboy sat on a mat of kusha grass beside 90-year-old Sanatan, also to receive sannyas that day. Sitting opposite the two candidates, Narayan Maharaj, Keshava Maharaj's disciple, prepared to conduct the ceremony of mantras and offerings of grains and ghee into the fire. Akinchana Krishnadas Babaji, Aboy's godbrother, known for sweet singing, played mridanga and sang Vaishnav bhajans. Sitting on a raised asana, His Holiness Keshava Maharaj presided. Since there had been no notices or invitations, only the mutt's few residents attended. Narayan Maharaj chanted the required mantras and then sat back silently while Keshava Maharaj lectured. Then, to everyone's surprise, Keshava Maharaj asked Aboy to speak. Aboy had not expected this. As he looked around at the gathering of devotees, he understood that the common language was Hindi. Only Keshava Maharaj and a few others spoke English, yet he knew he must speak in English. After Aboy's speech, each initiate received his sannyas danda, the traditional head-high staff made of 4 bamboo rods, bound together and completely enwrapped in saffron cloth. They were given their sannyas garments, 1 piece of saffron cloth for a dhoti, 1 for a top piece, and 2 strips for underwear. They also received tulasi neck beads and the sannyas mantra. Keshava Maharaj said that after Aboy would now be known as Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj, and that Sanatan would be Muni Maharaj. After the ceremony, the 2 sannyasis posed for a photo standing on either side of their sannyas guru, who sat in a chair. Keshava Maharaj didn't impose any strictures on Aboy. He simply encouraged him to go on preaching. Yet Aboy knew that to become A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami did not mean merely that he was giving up family, home comforts and business. That he had done 5 years ago. Changing from white cloth to saffron cloth, from Aboy Babu to Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj, had a special significance. It was the mandate he had required, the irrevocable commitment. Now it was only a matter of time before Bhaktivedanta Swami would travel to the west, as Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati had ordained. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Gaura Premanand.